Good evening, everyone. Please, if y'all are in the art gallery or if you're hanging out outside, come. If y'all can please give us your attention for this moment, bring it in a little bit closer. So we're here at the Chica Space in San Bernardino. My name is Jag, by the way. We're here at the Chica Space in San Bernardino to advocate and to do this tattoo fundraiser for our brother Orlando Watley, kind of who's his partner, who's been wrongfully incarcerated for the past 25 years. We have the Free Orlando Watley banner here. We have one outside as well, and we're here in good spirit, the spirit of solidarity, spirit of resistance for all people, that have been done wrong by the justice system. And we have a gentleman here who will be speaking shortly. His name is William Richards, and I'll let Kanahus speak more a little bit about him.
White Kanahus Belki request, Cook's Jam, the Gesalten. My name is Kanahus Belki Manuel. My name's Red Woman in Tanaka. And I just said thank you to all my relatives for coming here with us today. I'm here for my love for my husband, and not just the love for him, but the love for our land, love for our water, love for our ways, and everything that brought my love to this man. He's a very strong Chickasaw warrior. He's Bantu African too. And he's been wrongfully convicted for the last 25 years. He was wrongfully convicted and charged with a triple homicide that happened in Palm Desert, California in 1993. And there's corrupt cops involved in this, criminologist that has fabricated and falsified DNA blood evidence against us. Right now, we're trying to call out and reach out to any molecular biologist out there. And for people that have this on live right now, reach out to your contacts. You may not know somebody that's a molecular biologist, but there's someone out there that does. And we can have these experts that could help, exonerate him with their skills. And so also, if there's any lawyers or any law students that that would like to put some effort into helping us in this case, that's what we're also seeking. He's in Calipatria. He's been locked up in Calipatria State Prison. I visited him last weekend, and he knew that we're going to be doing this fundraiser for him this weekend, and he wants to say thank you to all of you for coming out. Cook's Jam, thank you to all the tattoo artists that are volunteering their time. This is a fundraiser, but there's also, if you feel obliged, or asking people to tip the artist too, because they're taking their time, 2 days out of their life to give of their artistic skills. We have our friend here, William Richards, and he was wrongfully convicted for 23 years. And this man who I mentioned, Daniel Gorgonis, was also involved in his case. He was freed from the help of lawyers and others in the California Innocence Project, but also independent lawyers that really looked at his case to help him while he was locked up inside. And he was freed after 23 years. And I reached out to him, on Facebook, and I saw that he was free and started a friendship with him, and to bring attention not only to Orlando's case, but also to his case, because he is fighting for an exoneration. He could tell you more, but fighting for compensation. He's been put away for 23 years, wrongfully convicted. So he lost 23 years of his life. And I know he was able to travel some places around the world since he's been free. And I've been watching him on Facebook and enjoying to watch him be in this free world with all of us out here. I come from Sukwatmuk'uluk. It's in so-called British Columbia, Canada. I'm a freedom fighter. I'm a land defender. I've been a freedom fighter before I even met Elk Bone, and that's how he reached out to me. He reached out to me because he saw that I was a freedom fighter, and he knew that I was an advocate for human rights and for Indigenous rights. So that's how he reached out to me, and I fell in love with this man, and I've known him for 4 years. We got married last year in February, so we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary, and I was finally able to have family visits with him. He, for people who may not know what family visits, but being able to spend the night there with him for 46 hours and it's been his first like real human contact that he's had in all these years, because they never gave LWOP family visits. So people who've been sentenced with life without the possibility of parole, and some say that's just as, as an egregious human right violation as death row, because they're saying, no, you're going to die in prison. And the other day I was at a Healing Communities conference in downtown Los Angeles, and I met a man who was LWOP and he got free. And so he was really excited to talk to us, and hopefully he said he's going to reach out to some lawyers, and we're going to continue to share because he's free now. And there was, before, like years ago, people said like, no, LWOP, you never thought of they'll ever get free, so the way that things are changing now, and I think that really by putting a lot of pressure, we can get Orlando free too. There's other ways that we want to reach out to people to engage them and to support. Me and Jag and some others are going to put a change.org petition out, so that'll go straight to the governor to seek either a commutation of sentence or clemency or something that's going to. There's so much different ways we can fight it, but it is going to cost money because these lawyers don't want to work for free, and a lot of them. But by advocating like this, we're hoping that lawyers will come forward to help pro bono or for a cheaper cost. But I'll introduce William Richards here, if he could come up. And he was there after I got married. He couldn't come into the wedding, but he was there after with my family celebrating out there in, what was it called, Paris or something? Paris. Yeah, it was Paris, but it was here in California. I never knew there was a Paris here. Yeah, it's spelled different. But here he is, my good friend William Richards.
First thing I want to do is salute all of the people who showed up here today, because you're fighters. You're fighters fighting for a man's freedom, a man who doesn't belong in prison. My case was very similar to Orlando's because some of the same people were involved. They planted evidence, they falsified evidence, they destroyed exculpatory evidence. And we're in the process of proving that now. So I can't go into extensive details on it, but trust me, the man she mentioned has been planting evidence and framing people for a long time, and he's still on the job. So my case, like everybody says, you spend 23 years in prison. You don't spend 23 years in prison. Your whole life is gone. Everything I accomplished before I went to prison is wiped out and gone. All my family's dead. They're all gone. And I come out now at, I'll be 70 this year and have advanced cancer because they didn't treat me in prison, because they don't bother giving you the proper care. The cancer would have been easily cured years ago, but it's not. So they don't just take the years that you're inside. They take your whole life. Everything's destroyed. Orlando's lucky. He's got a very strong woman here, definitely a warrior, who's fighting for him. And all you people here today, you don't know how much this will mean to him to know that you're all out here to support him. Now the system is broken. The system is definitely broken. The police, in my case, we've been doing depositions, we've been interviewing them, and every one of them stood up and admitted they decided the first night they stood around the body and said, okay, he's the guy we're going to go after. And they proceeded to do that. They didn't proceed to look for evidence. They didn't take fingerprints. They didn't do anything at the crime scene you would normally do at a murder. Why? Because they didn't want anything that would interfere with framing me. And they knew I wasn't there. They knew I was 46 miles away in a security building. But I was the one they had, and that's what I think happened to Orlando and so many other people. They pick the suspect, they destroy evidence, and then they move on. Police are immune. You can't sue them. They can get on the stand and say anything they want. No matter how big a lie, you prove it's a lie, you can't touch them. They're still on the job. Prosecutors, judges, the same thing. They have this absolute immunity. Numerous DAs have been caught in Texas framing people who got executed. They're still on the job. This is what's wrong with our system. This is what all of you as fighters, as freedom fighters, because that's what you're doing. You're fighting tyranny. You're fighting a system that's broken. And anybody in this room could be driving out here tonight and the cop decided you did something. And the whole power of the state will fall on your head to make you look guilty, whether you are or not. Like I said, I was 46 miles away. We have extensive scientific evidence linking somebody else, and yet they convicted me and put me in prison because I was the one they picked. So profiling, yeah. In my case, it was my wife. I come home, find my wife dead, call the police. I was profiled. Husband's always guilty. Sometimes it's Hispanic. They want Hispanic. Sometimes it's black. They profile people. And once they've picked you, you're done. You're done. There isn't a thing in the world you're going to do to stop this. So we need to change the system. We need to change the laws. We need to get rid of the immunity. Now, Orlando needs all the help he can get. It took the Innocence Project 16 years to get me out. When I contacted them, I was their first client, and I was their 26th exoneration. It took that long. It was that hard. I was ruled innocent 7 years before I got out. A court sat there and ruled. I was tasting pizza. I thought I'm going home tonight. It took 7 years, a change of law, and a Supreme Court ruling to get me out of prison. But I'm still a convicted murderer. My records aren't cleared. The system fights you. They won't clear your records. Now, I never had a crime in my life. I had no record. Right now, I've got a 3-page rap sheet, all from one crime that I didn't commit. So when a cop pulls me over on the side of the road, what's he going to think? All he's going to see is, this guy's a convicted killer, and he was sent to prison. Why is he here? So you're going to expect this traffic patrolman, who's not usually the highest level of intelligence, to decide, why am I here? So it's going to turn into a felony stop, guns drawn, multiple police. That's not healthy, not in America. America has, I was just telling a nice lady over there, I think it was 2017, somebody did the calculations. Over 1,100 people have been killed by police in this country in 2017. But you take England and Japan, where their combined populations are the same as ours, and trust me, they have a lot of crime there too. Police hadn't killed a single person. What's wrong? What's wrong with our system? What's wrong with our police that they're doing this? And this is what grassroots organizations like what you're doing right here are needed. It's needed to bring the attention to the public, bring people aware that we have something seriously wrong going on here. Now, what they're doing to Orlando, I've been through it. I wasn't LWOP. Not that it made a difference. Up until a couple years ago, due to federal court rulings, any life prisoner never went home. They just didn't. The parole boards always found an excuse, and the federal court started stopping them on that. But I got out because of extensive evidence that proved I was innocent. The man who framed Orlando planted evidence on my case. We have scientific proof. We have photographs to prove it wasn't there at the autopsy. It turned up 10 days later. How the hell does that happen? You know? Other police found evidence on the victim, a hair under the fingernails from the battle, from the struggle. She fought for her life, and there's blood and hair, and it's a natural blonde fiber. The police lied to the jury. They told the jury nothing was there, nothing existed. Well, here was concrete proof that I was not the guy in the fight with her. I was not the one who did this. And of course, I had no injuries from the fight. She broke her fingernails off fighting. I didn't have a mark on me. But the police talked around that and framed me because I was profiled, which I think everybody in this room understands what profiling means. So these are things that got to be corrected. And I wish I had answers, but I don't. But the way to do it is what you're doing, to stand up and fight. Orlando needs a break. Orlando needs help. Orlando needs an attorney. And he's kind of stuck in a situation where he was the last one to the table. His 2 co-defendants are being represented by Innocence Projects, but there's only 2 Innocence Projects in California, and due to conflict, they can only represent 1 co-defendant, and he's the one left out because he didn't get there in time. So what we all need to do is keep fighting. We all need to keep changing things. Try to fight for change. I'll bet you how many of you knew that police are immune. You can't sue them for what they say on the stand. They can stand up there and tell any story they want. And they do. And that's why they do, because they know they can get away with it. Everything in our system is bent. It's broken. Like I said, you shoot people in the back. You got a video of it. The cop doesn't get arrested. What the hell, you know? So we need to fix these problems. The court system, the DAs, judges, and DAs are immune. You can't prosecute them, you can't sue them. Like I say, they've had people in Texas that were proven to be framed after being executed. That's murder. He is still on the job, you know? So you got to understand how bad the system is. You got to understand, there's no way I can put into words what it's like to be framed for something. You sit there and you know you didn't do this. You know you weren't there. You're a victim of the crime. And you watch these people who are supposed to be servants of the public and protect you. And they're lying and they're cheating and they're planting evidence and they're destroying exculpatory evidence. This is the issues we have to face. Orlando has got a real struggle. He's got a bad struggle because he doesn't have the representation. The California Innocence Project spent over $50,000 in 16 years to get me out of prison. And he doesn't have that kind of help. We need to find him some kind of help. Something, some organization, somebody who can afford to do this. Most cases don't take as long as mine. It's just because the county of San Bernardino, the same one who got Orlando, I believe he was convicted, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. They had a bad reputation some years ago about the time this happened to both of us. I believe they're starting to correct some of these things now, but it's slow. But the fact is, he needs help because he needs somebody who can fight like the Innocence Project does. He needs money, he needs lawyers, he needs backing. I don't know how many of you have seen all the episodes on TV Randy Page is doing on Kim Long. She's another exonerated. Her case was overturned. The DA appealed it, it went back, and they reinstated her thing. She is now out on bail, years after being in prison. And there's a good chance she'll go back to prison because they won't let go, even though they know she's innocent, even though there's a lot of evidence of somebody else. So the system needs to be fixed, and you people are the ones that do it. People who stand up and fight, people who stand up for any one of them. Every case that breaks points evidence in another direction. There's a lot of evidence coming up in my case right now that's going to hopefully help Orlando. Because when we're showing this corruption, the perjury, and planted evidence by the same people, that should open his case. But he needs lawyers, he needs an organization behind all that. You can't believe how hard it is to get somebody out of prison once they've been convicted. Innocence is not enough. You know, I was ruled innocent, and they sent me back to prison anyway. And they said, you're going to die there. They ignored the evidence. They said, well, we got this little technicality that we created that we can ignore this evidence. And the higher court just overrode the Superior Court who ruled me innocent. And they actually changed the law. And that's the only reason I'm standing here today. Because I don't know if they'd ever had anybody sent back after a court had ruled them innocent. But the lawyers looked at this and said, this is absurd. The legislatures, they looked at this and said, this is absurd. And they put a law through that they called the Bill Richards bill that changed that, where you can't ignore this evidence anymore. But Hitler did things like that. We don't need evidence, we just put you away. You know, a lot of people have done that. America needs to be fixed, it needs help, and Orlando needs a lot of help. Like I say again, I salute all of you for turning out on his behalf. Thank you.
One other thing that William said that I wanted to mention was that one of Orlando Watley's co-defendants did get free. His name's Theodis Brown, and he was free as of a couple of months ago with the help of the Northern California, the Santa Clara DNA Project, with the help of him, but it was also had to do with something from Cellmark Laboratory, a laboratory in Maryland. So there's other independent laboratories that are being brought into question now too. So molecular biologists, please reach out. And thank you all for coming. I know we're tattooing and our tattooing, we're having bigger tattoos than we've originally thought we were committing to. So it's been taking us a little bit longer to get through our tattoos. So please stick around. We're going to be tattooing still. And if we're behind schedule for your tattoo right now, just hold on, and there's going to be music and more entertainment. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Cookstown.
Thank you, Conahus. So, thank you, Mr. Richards, for speaking.